Corner to Corner podcast. On tonight's episode of the podcast, I'm asking you to get comfortable, turn the lights down low, and hold hands with the person nearest you, because tonight we're going to engage for a seance. And I'm going to reach out into the ether to see what's out there. Is there anyone there? Is there anyone to come through to talk to me?
No.
That's your cue.
Yeah, I know, that was my cue. That was my punchline. I was going to let you build up and then just go,
right.
No. You can tell we rehearse this lots, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we thought about that a few seconds ago. So we are here tonight to take a look at the Violet Hour, which is the latest 13th Doctor adventure from Big Finish, written by Rafaella Marcus. And we will be talking to her very soon about this latest adventure. So this one, I was unsurprisingly, but quite a big fan of this
spooky one, isn't it?
So it was spooky as well. So 13th Doctor and spooky win. So I was quite chuffed for that. So this one takes us back to London in the 20s.
Yaz. Not.
Well, yeah, that's right. They tried to go to it's New York, isn't it? I think they end up in London, and Yaz is all dressed up for a bit of jazz fun and flapper, and of course, gets let down again because they don't end up in the right place. So they sort of they get caught up into the case of bodies of mediums that have been turning up all across London, don't they?
Yeah.
And the cold opening for the episode is introduces us to Mal Travers and his assistant, Dr. Kidney, which I thought was a great name. And it's
the sort of thing you find in League of Gentlemen or something, isn't it? Dr. Kidney.
Yeah.
Played by Steve Pemberton and his, his creepy vest.
And Professor Liver or something. And it starts with they've got a medium that they're sort of doing an experiment on. They're trying to, you don't really know quite what initially, but
they're putting some poor young girl through some kind of process, aren't they? Which I think she's clearly volunteered for, but doesn't really know what's involved in it.
Yes.
And I think she asks, "Is it going to work?" And I think the guy says, just a mild tickle.
Just a tingle.
It all kicks in. Yeah. And then it's like,
Yeah. And
it's quite
she
fun.
says, I can see a field and there's flowers and there's a woman and a child there.
Yeah.
So you do fairly quickly. Mal Travers is looking to speak to his wife and daughter.
But I think she's a fake, isn't she? Without giving it away. And I think his experiment is to try and find a real medium who can actually communicate with the beyond.
Yeah, he's become sort of obsessed with it, isn't he?
Totally obsessed. Nutter. He's a nutter.
He is, and he has a cage, doesn't he? Which is not really explained then, but becomes kind of explained and relevant a bit later.
Yeah,
so it's quite a good opening, and the girl obviously gets fried in the chair, doesn't she?
You just giving it all away now, aren't you?
Spoilers.
If you probably listened to it by now. We're just going to assume that you have. So if you haven't, it's not our fault, really. See below for the disclaimer.
So the Doctor and Yaz turn up and sort of find out about all of this. And this was quite interesting because if I remember right, the bodies have been sort of turning up in different areas of London.
Yeah.
And Yaz says that at that point in time in policing anywhere, there wasn't really kind of a database or a cross-referencing system or anything like that. So, bodies turned up somewhere that was, burnt to a crisp, for example.
Yeah, no one's able to really join the dots because there's just that lack of communication between this kind of nascent, very, very early police force.
Mm.
And it's quite good that it plays into Yaz's kind of experience as a young police officer. You know, she kind of falls into that role very, very nicely, as you would expect.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, there's a bit near the beginning, isn't there, where they start talking to her. Like, he whistles at them, didn't he? Wolf whistles,
yeah.
And they're like, oh, nothing changes. And then he's a bit surprised to find out that that Yaz is a policewoman, isn't
they? They have a bit of fun with him, don't they?
Yeah,
in this place. Yeah. It's quite good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So this one, I thought initially, there's some quite good fun bits in it, you know, and it then becomes a bit more spooky and sort of semi emotional, you know, towards the end as well, didn't it? I thought.
It was definitely trying to tug on the heartstrings a bit, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. There's a lot of
you know me for that kind of thing, mate.
Oh yeah, you know, you're right, soppy, you know. Yeah. There's a lot of sort of the big themes about kind of grief and loss in this, and you know, there's talk about what was it? Was it Spanish flu? You know that.
That had, obviously. I mean that was quite a big deal back in the day. I think it pretty much wiped out a lot of people. You know.
Yeah,
the actual numbers were, but they're kind of scary. I remember learning something about it when I was in sixth form or something like that, and we were doing Virginia Woolf and you know, all her stuff, and that was quite a big deal.
Yeah,
because you had like the First World War, then you had the Spanish flu, and it was just, and then you know, general sort of economic crap going on. It was pretty dire times by all accounts. You know, we also had this kind of idea that the 20s is kind of fun-free, you know, flapper girls and the Charleston and everything else. And of course, it probably was for a very elite section of the society, like the 1%, the 1%. But everybody else, from all sounds things, everything I've read, they had a shit time. It was awful, nearly as bad as it is now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think you know, there was like a, you know, pandemic-like event in the story. The war,
but again,
and
without any coordinated response, nobody really understanding the nature of diseases and viruses and contagion and stuff like that. You know, I think even then everybody thought it's, well, airborne viruses anyway, but Spanish flu probably is, I think, but still there's no real sort of anything, you know, to kind of halt it.
I'm just going to look it up. How many people died from Spanish
Loads
flu?
Yeah,
100 million, maybe.
100 million.
500 million were infected. Now, 500 million was 1/3 of the global population at the time.
Crazy, isn't it?
Wow. That is only just over 100 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know, when you read something like that, I think about, like, genuinely, what would it have looked like back then?
Awful.
Like, no, but I mean, like, the number of people. Like, how different would the world have been? You know, with that relatively few number of people in it. That's crazy. Yeah, I'll leave that one with you. So, what did you think of Mal Travers in this one? Because he's quite clearly a bit crazed, and he's got this you know, obsession with trying to find someone who will enable him to, you know, to speak to the dead and everything. And
I mean, do you want me to answer the question? Do you want to answer it for me? Just keep on talking. I always like a villain with a strong motivation, Geoff. That's what I like. You know, Doctor Who is full of very shouty people, but they have, usually most of them have a strong motivation for doing what they're doing. And I quite like the fact that this guy, actually, his intention was actually pretty good. We could all kind of relate to that. You know, the idea of speaking to someone you've lost. But the way he goes about it is obviously very reprehensible. You know, he's obviously got no value in anybody else's life, so it's purely me, my needs, and screw everybody else's. So that makes him a total sociopath, and for that he must be destroyed.
Yeah.
No, genuinely, get rid of all sociopaths. You know, they're dangerous people. But you know, it's I thought he was all right. Why? What did you think of him?
Yeah, no, I think pretty much exactly what you said there. You know, he's, you know, killing people and well, you know, girls, and you know, whilst initially, you know, trying to kind of reach you know, his family, he's ended up going down the wrong way about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was, I wouldn't say he was a classic, villain, but I think it was quite nice that, there was a bit of depth and emotional stuff to him there.
Yeah, and he was quite nicely played as well. There were, I think initially I thought, here we go, another shouting villain, but actually there's quite a lot of nuance in his performance. I say his performance. Who was it?
David Robb.
Who was it? Dave Grohl, did you say? Wow.
David Robb.
David Robb, yes. Yeah, Mal Travers also did the Ironmonger in there, according to my cast list.
Oh, right.
But other parts played by members of the cast.
Yeah.
So I thought he was really good actually. I was going to say I kind of warmed to him. Obviously, I didn't because he's a baddie, but I kind of got where he was coming from, and I was kind of hoping that actually, rather than end in a grisly manner, I thought I kind of just hope he sort of learns the error of his ways, because I think deep down there's probably a decent person in there who just needs to be educated a bit.
Yeah. He
and I love Mr. Kidney.
Yes, I'm thinking brilliant. About how he the Doctor melted his shoes.
Yeah, exactly. And then sort of left him stranded there.
Yeah. He
what
stuck
about
to
my
the
shoes?
floor. Yeah, and then I was thinking, I wonder if that will get mentioned again. And then when he's back with Mal Travers later, he's like, "Are you wearing new shoes again?"
Yeah. I like little touches like that. It's things like that give a script a kind of a personality and a unique flavour. It's not always about the story. It's sometimes these little flourishes that authors indulge in. They're the thing that gives it life and soul. And I think quite often when you're reading reviews of things, they're like, "Oh, don't stick to the story, Martin," or whatever. It's the shit that I learned in school. What's the point of melting his shoes? But no, it's fun. It's
fun
and
it's within, it's the sort of thing the Doctor would do, and
exactly. It tells us a little bit more about the Doctor's character, and and gives us kind of something to applaud the act itself, because at that time, he's behaving very reprehensibly. It's quite good fun.
Yeah. So quite a large part of this story is about Miriam.
She was great. I love who played Miriam, because I thought she was fab. Olivia Marcus. Yeah, she's brilliant. Really, really good. I was very, very bowled over with her performance. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah. So she becomes kind of a major focus of it all, doesn't she? I'm just looking up the cast list quickly as well. That what you're looking at.
Well, she's got so she's the sister of the supposed medium, isn't she? So it's a sister who's the performer who goes onto stage nightly and sort of kind of does the whole showpiece about contacting the beyond and what have you. But actually, it's kind of Miriam who is the real medium there.
Yeah.
Did I get that the right way around?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. I'm trying to remember who that's correct. And then Miriam, there's a hint that her and Esther, who's the one who dies at the beginning, isn't she?
Yes. That's right. Yeah, Esther Shines.
That's it, Esther Shines. Yeah, because the psychic paper keeps getting it wrong, doesn't it? But then actually,
turns out she's filled with starlight or something.
Yes.
So,
yeah. That's why. So there's a hint that they had, more of a relationship. So yes, it's Miriam's the actual medium, but her sister was the one who wanted to perform. So she.
That's what she's good at. That's the thing. So Miriam's not a showboater. She's not got that sort of performance streak, but she generally has this kind of connection to the spirits beyond.
Yeah.
And has to live with that every day, every night. Yeah. So it's quite good.
They start to find they find out that the bodies are sort of glowing from inside, aren't they? Because it's only Miriam who could see it, isn't it? And she thought she was sort of going mad as no one else was commenting on it. But it's her susceptibility to what turns out to be Thuron energy, isn't it? I thought that was a name we'd heard before on the show. But it's not.
It's not one I'm familiar with. I thought it was
Huron energy, I think.
You're thinking Artron energy.
That's it. Yeah,
yeah.
Artron,
I've read that before, but Thuron's a new one.
Thuron.
Yeah, Thuron's a new one. Yep.
Hey. So then quite a lot sort of. There's a couple more bits to talk about, isn't there? Including the sort of dream, not dream, but the kind of mindscape, I suppose you'd call it. So they find out that there's this Thuron energy, and an entity that is sort of it feeds off emotions, doesn't it? And is trying to sort of
someone with a squeaky voice.
Yeah.
It reminded me of was it the Ravagers in the Ninth Doctor? It's that Ninth Doctor series. Who is it who plays who does the voice for them? She's really good. She does a lot of those sort of weirdly scary, childlike sort of voices.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Really need an awful lot of treatment when you hear her in interviews backstage. Like, oh wow, she's actually just done it in a voice.
Just that, yeah.
There's no effect on that. She's actually just done that voice.
Yeah.
So that's fun. And
the Doctor and Miriam end up sort of they get put unconscious, don't they, and taken into the mindscape. I can't think of a better phrase for it.
We're not
talk to this entity and kind of find out what it's after. And then that's when Yaz and Nellie they need to bring them back, don't they? They can use something to kind of shock them, can't they? And they use a bit of salt on the lips and stuff.
Then that's it. Yeah.
To get the Doctor out, Yaz is advised to sort of surprise her, which leads to her giving the Doctor a kiss to sort of snap her out of it. And the Doctor wakes up and says, "If you punch me," she's sort of a bit confused about it initially.
We finally get that kiss that we kind of wanted all those years ago.
Yeah,
it finally happens
because people online must have. Well, they obviously listened to this before I did, and I saw quite a few tweets of like Tasman Nation, wake up. And in fact, let me just go over to Blue Sky. I had a comment here from Supreme Human.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That says, all I can say is kissy kissy.
Kissy kissy. Yeah. It
so,
finally happened.
Yeah, it finally happened. So I thought it was quite nicely handled. It was, it works within the story. It doesn't kind of break anything that's happened.
No, it's
really
nice actually. Yeah.
So it was absolutely fine. I thought it was good. I was just going to say we had a couple of comments here as well.
Yeah,
just reading them. No, we'll come back to those. Yeah,
come back to those. We're going to come back to those, listeners, very soon. Yes, promise.
Yeah,
made a note and everything.
Yeah. So the Doctor then scans Miriam, isn't it? And she says there's 3 heartbeats or 3. Does she? Is it heartbeats or 3 entities, something like that in there? And I thought there was going to be a bit of a reveal that she was, pregnant or something. But there's something else in there, isn't there? I can't remember exactly how she phrased it, but 3 sort of entities. Miriam, the empathy creature that's made of the Thuron energy, and then another one.
Else.
Yes, and it transpires that this is connected to the tourist that has been a recurring theme throughout the arc, the adventure so far, and it then sort of disappears, doesn't it? Flees. So the main violet owl gets wrapped up, and then there's a couple of minutes at the end where the Doctor's talking about the vampire in Vampire Weekend mentioned it.
Oh it's pulling the threads.
It was there in Lionesses in Winter. There was a mention of it in Ride or Die as well. So something has been following them, and
like a tourist.
Yes. So the Doctor says, instead of she said, how do you what does she say? How do you capture something that's following you? You turn around and face
that's right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I remember saying at exactly the same time that she said
really?
it in the play, because it's just, you turn around and face it.
Yeah. So,
I think my version was like, you stop, you turn, you face it, something like that. And then she did it much better than I would have done. So it's fine.
So that's the next adventure. Is sort of investigating.
So we're going to find out who or what the tourist is in the next one. Aegis. Is it Aegis?
Yes, I think so. You pronounce it, isn't it? Yeah.
And this is about now the fight, that confrontation.
Yeah. Well, I guess so, because I listened to the extras on the Violet Hour, and they said this is the halfway point of this first season.
Oh, okay.
So and they said, this is the big arc. So I wonder whether something that springs out of this part,
springs out literally.
Yeah, because we talked before, because they said obviously there's 12 adventures, and then somewhere it said this was the first season, and I wondered whether they would do it as a 6-episode season and then another 6, and the 6th episode would sort of wrap up the tourist, but apparently not. So. We'll wait and find out.
What, it's just carrying on like?
Well, I don't know.
I
maybe.
Don't know.
So I'm going to come to a couple of the comments
let's do that.
On Blue Sky in a minute. But first of all, I saw someone online say they didn't know why this was called the Violet Hour. Did you?
Of course I did. It's silly people, honestly. There's no idea. There's no intelligence among the whole bally lot of them, really. It's so obvious. I mean, come on now. Come on.
Yeah,
Geoff,
you
can paraphrase the whole thing for them. Come on, Geoff, you tell them what it is. I'd no idea, mate. It's probably, I don't know, is it something to do with, like, Twilight or something? I don't know. What is it? Go on.
Well, actually, when you look it up, there's quite a lot of different
you had to
things,
look it up as well, so you didn't know, right?
It's a term that evokes, according to this website here, it's a term that evokes a mystical, almost ethereal transition, a fleeting moment when the veil between the living and dead world is
that sounds
thin.
Good. Yeah.
So it doesn't actually, that I remember, kind of explain that term, within the episode, but that's what it's referring to.
Right.
Which obviously with the seances and
that's what it is.
All that of that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. So that's a good one.
That was quite good, yeah. So over on Blue Sky, Gavin Alexander said, I loved it. Best of the series so far. Mike Honor said, really enjoyed. There's something about 13 and Yaz in a historical setting investigating something spooky. It just works for me. Great supporting cast too. And the future is for everyone, says, I love the Donna Noble callback to the unicorn and the wasp. There was something in there.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head. Sorry.
Dig it out, play it again. Let's have a listen.
Yeah. Absolutely solid and strong story about love lost and being lost. To see and talk to my aunt again, my brother, my mum. I don't know that knowing it was not real would be enough for me to resist the Eidolon. That's the name of the creature, isn't it?
It's very luring, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. That's what they're called.
I don't think, he says, no, I don't think I could. And that's, okay, there's a question for you, Paul. If someone came to you and they said, they could put you in touch with, people that had passed that meant something to you, and it was quote unquote real, you wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. No. For one thing, I wouldn't believe them because I don't believe that these things. I think once you're gone, mate. That's my honest belief. That's it. Or if you do transcend to something else, you're something else, and what you were is no longer what you were by reason. So that's my.
Do you think you get reincarnated?
I don't know. No, not really.
Do you think when you're dead, you just get eaten by bugs?
What? Yeah, you're just worm, aren't you? I mean, your flesh just decomposes. That's a known fact. That's the thing that happens. Whether there's a thing, whether we all actually have souls that transcend in some way, we don't know. We don't know for certain.
Well, you are a massive arsehole.
What? That's not nice. Why? Come on then. Why is this? Why am I a massive arsehole?
No, I'm joking.
Did you hear that, listeners? Honestly, this is what I have to put up with. Come on then. Explain yourself, young Jeffrey, my lad.
I went to college with a guy called Richard Soul.
Oh, yeah. Richard who? Soul.
Yeah.
Is there a punchline in here somewhere?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, that was hard work, wasn't it? Moving on. Is that it? Honestly.
No, I didn't. I just made that up.
Oh my God! It's Starsky Hutch all over again.
He had a friend, Richard Head.
Anyway, I'm sorry, listeners. I don't know what Geoff's been eating today. It's having a very weird effect on him.
Enjoy that one.
That's fun. I'm literally crying. So what about you then? Would you? Let me throw that question back to you. Would you want to contact somebody?
No, God, that is a tough one, isn't it? The thought of talking to my gran again, or whatever, is it is appealing, but the thought that it couldn't be real, could it?
That's what I would suspect, which probably makes me think that it's sort of an unbelieving, atheistic kind of granite head or something. I think it's difficult because
I think there is something when we move on.
I think that initial kind of that moment of grief when somebody who was really important in your life, for those. We've all been there, and if we haven't been there yet, we will be. That's the thing. We're all going to be touched by this. It's a common human thing. We all share it regardless. And it's one of the hardest things to deal with in life, because that person just isn't there. You're waking up on a brand new day. This person will not see that day. They're not there anymore. You cannot ring them, you can't call them, you can't text them. And they're not giving anything back to you either. So that is a massive hole, which is incredibly difficult to deal with. But you move on, you get over it. Your life becomes normalized without them. And even though that seems hard to think of at the start of that process, it does become the truism. And you remember them fondly. You remember how they used to make you laugh and all of that sort of stuff. And you remember how close you were. And it's beautiful. And they're really good memories. But you're kind of continuing with your life. So now to suddenly speak to someone who you've not let go, but found a way to live with, with them not being part of your life anymore, I think that's actually harder. I think that would be tough for me to sort of. It's just my feeling personally. I would find it really tough to get back into that place and potentially have the whole
and then to know that again. You've only got 5 minutes or whatever. I mean, because I do think that there is something after we die, but I think it's if something like this came up, we're talking about something totally impossible, but you don't know.
We don't know.
Would it be real?
As much as I'm an atheist,
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
Unproven.
Yaz says to the doctor, didn't she, near the beginning? Is it possible to talk to dead people? And the doctor says, it's a big universe.
Exactly.
There's statistically, it's could happen somewhere. And I thought, I don't know whether that was the doctor just sort of saying something comforting, because the doctor doesn't believe in ghosts, or said there's no such thing as ghosts and things like that. The doctor's always
decided there is a rational explanation for these things. They're not as magical or spiritual. Well, spiritual is the wrong word. I think magic is a thing. The idea of magic being a thing that happens for unexplainable reasons. It's just wow. It's literally magic. I think the doctor just believes there is a science behind all assumed magic, which obviously ties into the kind of Arthur C. Clarke thing of that any science of sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic to those who don't understand it.
Yeah.
So you take a TV back into the Middle Ages, and show them an episode of EastEnders. They go, "What that be then? Was that Pat Butcher?
Well, this is a bit miserable."
A long time ago, wasn't it? EastEnders. Since then. Anyway.
Yeah, I think. And even if you could go and talk to people who'd passed on, you'd have that moment of sort of happiness and things, and then it would be gone again. It would be.
I'd be worried if they asked me for money, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say you were quite sensitive about all of that, and had quite a nice,
thanks, mate.
emotional response. Then you said
like
that
you called me a total arsehole, for example. Yeah, that's the difference between us. You know what I mean?
Then you said they're probably going to try and fleece you for money in the afterlife.
Oh dear! I was worried that I owed them something. You know, did I? Was I supposed to take that? Sorry, it's.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. You know,
It'd be fun talking to Rafaella, I think, when we to sort of understand where the origin for this story was. You know, how she kind of pitched it, and you know what other things. She has written for Big Finish before as well, actually. I think she's done a Torchwood adventure. I can see. So I haven't listened to that one yet. I might try and give it a listen to if I get time.
Yeah, see if you could squeeze that in. Yeah, but you'd be interested to find out a bit more about the Violet Hour and where that came from, and if that was then sort of tying in a way to the shining element of them, things like that. So yeah, I want to find out a bit more about the origins of the seance side of things and stuff like that. And,
Geoff loves a spooky hoopy. Spooky hoop. You do, don't you? You love you like being thrilled and excited by phantasmagorical shenanigans.
I do quite like all of that.
I imagine you in the sort of turn of the century when people were coming out with magic lanterns and enter the cave of terror and phantasmagoria. You'd be like right up with your sixpence or your half a crown or whatever it is. See that, governor, put me in there, and you'd be like, "Ooh, this is amazing."
I probably, would go and watch these kind of seance things and stuff like that. You know, I'd have probably quite enjoyed that. You know, that would have been good. So, yeah, if you've listened to Violet Hour, do please let us know what you thought. Be interested to get your take on it as well. So, yes, we'll be back next week with Rafaella Marcus. We've got a couple of other things bubbling away that we'll be hopefully getting out there soon for you to slap into your ears.
Oh, that's an interesting experience you just described there, Geoff. Slap into your ears.
Before we go, Paul, would you like to do the Time Space Visualiser?
Yeah, let's do that. We haven't done that for a little while, have we? So, yeah, we got a bit of time. Here goes.
The Time Space Visualiser.
Go on then. What have you been listening to that isn't Doctor Who related or watching, reading, playing, or somehow engaging with?
I watched Predator Badlands this week.
It's good.
It is good, yeah.
Is it? Mind you, I asked that of you, and literally it could mean anything. It
sort of adds quite a bit of actual character to the Predator in it, and it fleshes out their sort of culture and clans and stuff like that.
Is it interesting? Is it something different that we haven't necessarily seen before, or is it
you follow a Predator who is essentially ostracized from the clan for being a runt. Not being, enough of a killer.
Strong enough and big enough.
And he goes on a quest to kill a sort of fabled creature thing. He goes to his planet that's a little bit like Pandora, but on even more steroids. In that everything wants to kill you, and then it meets Elle Fanning's cyborg thing. I won't sort of spoil it a bit more, but it was really good. A couple of times I was like, I'm actually sort of feel a bit sad for the Predator here, and now I'm rooting for it, and I really liked Fanning's character, because her legs are missing at the start, and the Predator kind of carries her around, and she's like, "Oh wow, that's the most fun I've had in ages," and it was quite a nice sort of dynamic between them, and there was some great kind of gory, fighting stuff. It's all creatures. Good. I saw people moaning they didn't have like any red blood in it and stuff like that, and it was I think it's a 12. It's rated 12.
Okay,
but
so
there's loads of stuff gets killed in it and sliced in half, and but it's alien creatures, so it's different. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Anyway, It was really nicely shot. It was great fun, and I hope they do more in the.
They do seem to be pushing out the Predator series, franchise, whatever.
Yeah, Dan Trachtenberg, who's sort of taken it over. You know, he did a superb job with Prey, which was following the Indian Navajo girl doing it. Absolutely brilliant. And then there's a series of short
animation
pieces, within a bigger film, and they kind of tell different predator encounters in different eras and stuff like that. Brilliantly done.
I've seen the first film a lot. Well, I say a lot, probably 3 or 4 times, I don't know, over the years. Not for a long time, though, to be fair. And I was
the Arnie film.
The Arnie film, which I love. But, you know, it's nothing... It's all surface level stuff, really. It's just Arnie takes on the Predator.
It's great
after
fun.
The Predator's killed all his company. It's brilliant. And it's got some really good, iconic cinematic moments. I think I watched some of Predator 2, which is where it's in modern day Los Angeles, or 1980s, late 1980s, or whatever, Los Angeles, and Danny Glover's in it. And apparently there's that big shock at the end where in the spaceship, Predator spaceship, there's like an alien cult
skull,
or something. So then you get Aliens v Predators. Actually, no, I have seen Alien v Predators, and I thought it was pat. I hate it. I thought, terrible. What the hell is this? So I've never watched any other Predator. Never read any other comic or anything.
Aliens versus Predator 2, which was.
See my reaction to that. That was disgusting. Distaste.
It was.
Without ever even watched it. But
it was a bad film, but it did have an alien queen in it, and that was really well done. But you know, I think the alien is a fantastic creature, but it essentially just kills things, and the Predator has, as they've shown in this one, they're able to sort of build to it, and I actually think it worked really well. And putting it in the different time periods is really cool. You know, like in Prey, she really had to kind of improvise with what she could use to try and kill it, because she was hopelessly outgunned on it. So
that's
great.
Fun. So, like Arnie, he didn't have anything much in the jungle. He just had to use his wits and his brute strength, and to bring the thing down in the end.
And in fact, in some ways, in Badlands, the Predator is sort of similar, ways to Arnold in it. It's going up against this massive creature, and it's sort of really up to it. So it has to kind of be quite clever with things, and then there's a bit of a twist actually in it. But yeah, it was definitely worth watching. I really enjoyed it. Okay. It was good.
Fun. Yeah. Good stuff.
How about you?
Me? I tell you, I haven't been watching much because I've been ridiculously busy these last few weeks. But I have been reading. I've been reading another bunch of books, and let me just read Little John Bon Jovi. Oops. You know how much I like Dune. The novel, right, Dune, and the movies. I love both movies. Honestly, David Lynch's movie, which I think is iconic, and the Villeneuve movies, which I'm really looking forward to, like Dune 3, which is out later, which is actually based on the second Dune book, but never mind, whatever.
Really?
It's still kind of Well, Dune Part 1 and Part 2 is basically the first Dune novel. It takes 2 films, 3.5 hours long to tell that story. Right. And he still didn't quite get it right. But it's fine. It's its own thing. It's a bit like the book, and mostly like the book, but it diverges, which is quite interesting. Well, I'll tell you, right, because 1, 2, right? This is the first Dune novel, right? See, that's quite a big, chunky thing. It's like 600 pages-ish, right? The sequel to Dune is Dune Messiah, which, as you'll notice, is actually a lot smaller. And there's not a huge amount of story in this, right? But there is. I mean, it's quite a strong plot. Right, basically, all the people that Paul Atreides pissed off in the first novel decide that they're going to assassinate him, because now he's become some sort of raging tyrant across the universe. He's launched his jihad across and destroyed worlds and changed and basically brought everybody kind of into his kind of dominion, if you like. So he's not a very sympathetic character, and it's quite interesting how the film sort of played the end of the end of Dune Part 2 by taking his wife Chani in a very different direction to how the book finishes. But in here, in June Messiah, she's in it. She does play a key role, but she's a little bit weak in that. Really, she is important, but I don't think Frank Herbert specifically focused on her character at all. I think maybe he struggled with writing, women really who weren't sorcerers or something, and tends to kind of go on stereotypes and stuff. And the whole June universe, June fans are going to kill me now for this, but they know I love June. It's my number one favorite thing forever. So hence the reason, right, that I, needing to read more June novels, thought I'd give these a try. Right? So these are the prequel novels, right? Because Frank Herbert, who wrote June, died with a lot of with some unfinished manuscripts towards the end of the original.
Didn't his kid finish them off or something?
That's him, yeah. Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson, who I think is known for like loads of comic graphic novels and various things across all kinds of different franchises. But I've heard mixed reviews about them, right? As if to say, like, oh, they're not very good. Brian's not his dad. And I thought, well, I'll make my own mind up and I'll read it myself. So I did, and I started with this one, which is right at the beginning, because this whole thing here, the Butlerian Jihad, right, is like the most mythic event in the entire June history. I mean, June has a massive history. And it's all in the first book, and it's all in the glossary, isn't it? It's like Lord of the Rings, but in sci-fi. Right. It's incredible. Honestly, it's one of the things that really got me into it. When you hear about these things like the Butlerian Jihad and, the overthrowing of the machines that used to dominate humanity and, the time of sorceresses and things like that, it's all kind of it's like the Time War in Doctor Who before we saw Time War in Doctor Who. It acquires a kind of thing of its own in your head. So I thought, I'll give it a go, because it's apparently based on, his notes, Frank Herbert's original notes. Yeah. But oh my God, it was hard going.
Really?
It really was. I found it, honestly, I just finished it today, and I did kind of enjoy it in the end, but it's almost like, it's horrible, because I've read some of the what people have been saying about Brian's work. The kindest thing I think you can say is that he's definitely not his dad, right? The writing style is very, very different. It's, Frank Herbert's writing was very kind of, it was the surface level was one thing, and the action happens, but it was all about the stuff below. So he talked about the lots of philosophical kind of ideas, and push them through his characters and have them pondering these things, usually for pages and pages and pages, which sometimes make those books a little bit kind of inaccessible or difficult to get into in some ways. I think the easiest one is actually the first novel, June. After that, they tend to get increasingly kind of ponderous, if you like. But I still love them. But these are the opposite. Anyway, so the whole thing about, I did kind of get into it, but the Butlerian Jihad there, this great big massive mythical event, I kind of wish I hadn't read it, because it's reduced the entire thing, which has lived in my brain for the last, 40 years or so, is reduced it to basically Humans v Transformers, which really pissed me off. Yeah. But it's Humans v Transformers written by a 12-year-old. I had to say it, didn't I? I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry, but there are some things. I don't. When we say there's no such thing as bad writing, Brian would never have been able to publish these books if he didn't have his dad's kind of notes to go on, and C, a publisher who just wanted more June novels, because June was incredibly successful. I think
it's nice that he's tried to to carry it on.
The story itself is actually really, really good. The things that happen in the story, the things that trigger this great revolt and the overturning of the thinking machines, and all of that, it's really good. And but the writing itself, it's so in front of your face. It's very difficult to it's like, there are things. I'll give you an example. I won't read from it because I won't be able to find it. But there's things like when a character walks into a room. Say, for example, right, it would say like, lovely Serena Butler flashed her lavender-coloured eyes. Oh, he was so handsome and she loved him, kind of thing. I kid you not, right? Powerful, strong Xavier Harkonnen walked into the room. Lovely Paul Atreides, lovely whatever his name, Vorian Atreides. It's his granddad's granddad. It's like 10,000 years before June.
Right.
It's hard work. It's really hard work. But as I said, the story's good. So I don't know, because I've got all three of them in a deal, and I'm kind of into them now for my shame.
You need to finish them for your own.
I've got to finish them, but it's really hard to read. Honestly, I've heard some people say it's like fan fiction.
Really?
I kind of think that's doing fan fiction a disservice, really.
It's based off Herbert's notes.
Yeah, it is. So, totally. So
if you're saying it's not up to scratch, then
it's the story itself.
It's one thing for the story. And
things that happen, and it's grisly, and it's epic at turns, and it's got loads and loads of spaceships and stuff that Dune didn't have. It's all surface level. There's none of that philosophical stuff. There's no, or if there is, it's rendered into the most basic components. But I think the good thing about that, I forget what I said about fan fiction, because that's really unfair. But that's just an opinion, right? I think actually it probably makes the Dune novels a lot more accessible to a lot more people, and maybe younger readers may find them a little bit easier to read than the somewhat weighty God Emperor Dune and Chapter House Dune and all that stuff, which is literally pages and pages and pages of people talking in a room about things that are so deep within the human condition. They're almost, they're just They need a degree of interest in that to get through them, I think. If you're not interested in any of that, you're not going to be able to read it. But if you love robots v humans, this is
that sort of stuff's fun. But
there you go.
I was thrilled this week when the June 3 trailer brought out the film snobs in force on Twitter.
Oh my God, didn't it just? Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. Do you know what's so funny? I know you like the films, and I haven't watched them.
I love them, yeah.
And I may well enjoy them. But these people...
They want to own it, right? Is that what you mean?
It's not just that, but they are vastly superior intellectually to people who like the slop of the MCU and things, and they'll pick apart the latest Spiderman trailer saying, look, it's grey sludge all over the place. And then they put out these screenshots from the Dune thing, and I saw a clip from the second one where must be the worm thing is coming at them, and he runs across the top of the dunes, and I was like,
grey sludge,
you're sandy sludge. You're criticising Spider-Man that's set in New York City, and they keep using this shot of Spidey swinging and his rain and clouds and grey sludge, and I was like, he's in a fucking sand,
have to put a rating on this one, mate.
Yeah. But they just, but you're right. They want to own it, but the thing that I just can't bear is this kind of looking down on other people.
Just don't engage. I know. Just don't engage with that stuff.
It's hard not to. Yeah,
I know it is, but think about it, because if that stops you watching the film, then you're kind of missing out on something. I mean,
well,
the thing is, for me, it's like I watched Dune, and I read Dune when I was 14, 15 years old. So I think I've told you before, and I've loved it since then. And I just love it so much. It's like it's ingrained into my blood. And I do feel a little bit protective over it, but not at the expense of Spidey swinging through New York, because I love Spidey also. I love the MCU also, apart from that one film which I didn't really get on with. But
let's not talk about that because people will get upset.
You don't mention that anymore. But that's the thing. It's like you don't have to just like one thing. You can like a thing for its reasons, and you like something else because it's complete opposite.
You don't need to look down on people because they like something that you don't.
I would never.
The thing is, June. I don't particularly like Timothy. I think he needs to stop blowing
his part, though.
No, but as an actor, I think he needs to stop blowing his own trumpet the way he does. I think it makes him look really arrogant.
See, I think this is a difference in the way between. Well, no, you're right actually, because I'm like this as well actually with certain actors. So I just think what was it he said recently? His acting was top level shit or something, and it's like, mate, don't blow you. And then he's declaring, I want to be one of the greats, and supposedly he's got a long way to go. I'm not going to lie.
He's really good, and I enjoyed him in Wonka, and the kids loved that, and it was great fun. But you don't go around doing that.
Did he actually say that? Did
yes, he did, and he also said.
Did you hear him say that? Or was it a written piece?
I've seen one of them, and I've seen it written, but I've also seen the clip of him talking about opera and ballet.
Right,
which is pretty ill-advised.
What? Because he likes opera and ballet.
No, he said no one cares about opera and ballet anymore.
That's rude.
And that's possibly what cost him the Oscar. Apparently.
See, the thing is though, I don't care. Well, I do care to agree on the actors if they decide to get involved in a political stance, that kind of shows they're an absolute racist git or something like that. That's a different thing. But
on that side of things, I think you're better to just stay quiet because you're going to upset someone.
Yeah. But I think the problem is, it could really put you off watching the film because you hate the actor or the actor's been a total knob.
I'm not normally like that with many people.
It's like, you got to see through it almost. I mean, it's got Florence Pugh in it.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Florence Pugh is in it. Rebecca
Jason
Ferguson,
as well.
I like. Yeah, I don't dislike him.
And he's going to be in number 3 as well, even though he died in number 2. Shh, number 1. Shh.
I knew that, actually. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
It's a good cast, and it does look, there's some lovely shots in it.
Cinematography, I think, is just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's massively ironic, though, saying that,
I know.
Spider-Man is grey sludge when this is largely set
I think
on
that's a common thing about, like, films in the last sort of, I don't know, 10 years-ish, maybe. The palette has tended towards the brown a lot, I think. But I don't mind it if it's right for the film and it gives it a nice kind of vibe. And
some of this criticism, I think, is absolutely, it's just picking holes.
It's
like
bonkers.
there's a shot of Spidey standing on the roof of a building, and there was people saying, "Oh, he's obviously green screen." Well, I don't know what you expect a shot of someone on a roof in the daytime overlooking a city is going to look like.
I know, yeah. Take me back to the 80s with...
There's no lighting in it. It's in the daytime, and they always pick these shots of, like, big daytime shot. Look how boring this is. And you're like, do you not know how the sky works?
Why do you get so wound up about it, though? Why do you even read this stuff? Why do you engage with these people?
Because
What's wrong with you? Have you learned nothing in the last 4 years?
My Twitter feeds it to me, but I just can't bear that sort of...
screw them.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
Let them do their thing. You do your thing.
But let's
don't
talk
let them
about
influence
Spidey, because that looks
because that trailer
pretty damn good.
As well, isn't it? So good week for Zendaya, really, because she's in 2 big, massive trailers or trailers for massive films.
Apparently Pugh is in Brand New Day as well, because it might tie into some Thunderbolt stuff.
Yes, that's going to be fun.
So that'd be good. And it's adapting the other comic, which is the one where Spidey sort of starts becoming more Spider-like, which is why in the trailer he's all in the webs and stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was quite fun. Yeah, I'm quite intrigued with that. And also, actually, I've forgotten the name, but somebody, as Freya was watching it, and she was like, "Oh, it's got somebody in it who's a big hero of hers."
Sadie Sink is in it,
yes, from Stranger Things.
Yeah, they don't show her particularly in the trailer, but the rumour is that she's
but nobody knows if she's actually in it or not, right?
But no, she's in it, but they don't know who.
But who?
People think she might be Jean Grey from the X-Men, but it seems weird to kind of introduce...
That's what she said. That's what Freya told me. Yeah.
But I wonder if she might be a female version of Morlan, who is a character in The Other, who is essentially a kind of vampire who hunts spider characters across different worlds.
Because why would you not?
Yeah. So that's what I wonder if it might be. But I could be wrong, so we'll see. It's going to be good.
We should do, when that film comes out, we should both see it and do a review of it.
Yes, I was thinking about that, yeah. And Daniel Destin Cretton did such a great job on Shang-Chi. He's already bringing the magic to this.
I love that film. Yeah,
it's great.
I thought it was great. There's a lot of these recent Marvel movies that I've really enjoyed. DC ones as well. I really like. I know you're not a massive fan, but I love the last Superman, and I'm looking forward to Supergirl coming out as well.
Yeah, I must say Supergirl looks pretty good. I like that she's a little bit more sort of rough around the edges. I think it's cool,
It's good. It was an unexpected thing at the end of the Superman film to see Supergirl.
I've seen that bit.
And I went to see it with Freya again, and I think as it kind of dawned on us who he was talking about and who was, what was going to happen, and who she was. It was like, very excited. But then she loves the what's her name? Melissa Benoist.
Oh yeah, from the show. Yeah.
She's totally into her, big time.
Yeah.
So
well, I think Millie Alcock will be good. So
so it was a different kind of
I might
punk.
give it a go. Yeah.
We should do that. Do our review show. Why not?
Yes.
Anyway.
We should. There's quite a lot of MCU to catch up on for that.
There's not much Doctor Who to catch up on between now and Christmas, so we might as well do something else. Like
maybe we will.
Food for thought. Let us know what you think about that idea.
Yes, do.
Yeah?
Would you like us to deviate a bit and cover some other stuff, as we've got not as much who to talk about? So, let us know.
Well, we've filled an hour anyway, so that's all good. Almost.
Brilliant. Excellent. Right, thanks for listening. Thanks to those people who commented in as well. Appreciate it. And we will catch you next time on Who Corner to Corner.
See you then. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.